Hi everyone, this is Darren from SimNation. Gonna continue the series of Pittsburgh from a game planning perspective. A lot of you have asked me to do this. So, since the last time I did a video was right before the Tampa Bay game, we won that game, but we're struggling a little bit on defense. We're struggling a little bit on offense. But we're still winning, and you can see we're still putting up points. We're averaging over 30 points a game, which is pretty good. But that Cleveland game, we gave up a lot more. Now, in fairness, with the Cleveland game, it was against Bio Igor, who's one of the really good coaches in the league. Um, and Bio's quarterback just shelled me, and he's got a quarterback that's one of the best arms in the league. So I get Baltimore this week. Baltimore is undefeated. They've already knocked off one big team in Carolina, who's Invisible Witness. This is the defending NFC champion, and also Invisible's won championships. By the way, just generally speaking, losing to the CPU is not a bad thing. I know a lot of good coaches have lost them. I've lost championship games to the CPU. It does happen, and when you're playing Baltimore, what you got to realize is you're essentially playing Kevin. He's only been gone for a season or two, which means that in effect, this is still the team that he built, and he built a really good team. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the stuff I did offline at watching games and figuring out who's will and who's doing what. But what I will tell you is after watching the game, what I came to the conclusion looking at the plays they've been running in the first two games is Baltimore throws the ball on every down except for maybe first and short. So whatever game plan I have needs to factor for the fact that they just pass the ball all the time. And passing will be a problem for me because my passing defense has not been good this year. And part of that has to do with my secondaries digressed in speed. I used to have two people who were above 95 in Spite and Burke. Now I only have Burke because Spite is aged and he's now actually below 90. But what it means is the rhythm and the pattern that I'll use for my defensive planning is going to be uh, past defenses or past playbooks for every down except for first and short where I'll do a run playbook or a balanced playbook. When he does throw the ball, he's not throwing it short, medium, or long. He's throwing it balanced from what I saw, which just means that the plays in the playbook that are marked balanced is what he's running. It looks like he's running a variable off defense, so a lot of 3-4-4-2. I'm sorry, 3-4-4-3-5-2 with some nickel and dime. And when he is running it, he's doing zone. So what that means is the emphasis is going to be more on agility than it is going to be on speed, which is probably good for him because some of the problems he's got on defense aren't going to be easily addressed. Offense, I really don't care who plays quarterback this week because I think I know what they're doing. So it'll either be Faison or McCracken. Um, Really, I'm not concerned about either. I'm a little worried about McCracken because he's got speed. He can actually probably maybe get away if I put pressure on him. But Faison is really well known to me because as you can see, he was a Steeler for a while. As a backup, even had one season where he played quite a bit because Pierce was hurt. I don't really care about the running backs. I don't think he's going to throw to the running backs, and I don't think he's going to run a lot. Uh, what I will tell you is I figured out by watching the game what I think is the offensive line structure, which is Schultz is the left tackle, Ortega is the left guard, Rankin is the center, Tyrone Jacobson is the right guard, and Cade is the right tackle. What that means is if you look at Schultz and you look at Ortega and you look at Rankin, I'm not really going to do anything with those guys. Those guys are arguably one of the best set of three linemen in the league, especially Schultz. I mean, Schultz is just, he's obscene. And then couple him with Ortega. What I'm going to try to do here is just, I'm probably going to put Perry and Wade Miller, who are my strongest and fastest on that side, to try to deal with that, although I may move Perry to the other side. I've got to look at that. What I am going to do is I am going to attack the right side of the line because I think it's weak, and I probably am not going to bull rush. I'm a speed rush because I should be able to see some dividends there because 34, I mean, he's pretty fast, but he's not a good pass blocker. So when I factor in my plan, I'm going to attack the right side of the line, which will be the left side of my defense. Wide receiver, what I've seen is Culp is wide receiver 1, Alvarez is wide receiver 2, Greenwood is wide receiver 3, Angle is wide receiver 4. And again, I figured this out by watching the games. The big thing here is they are fast. And so these two I'm not really worried about. I have people that can guard these two. What I'm worried about is I only have one guy who can honestly guard these two, and that would be Dominic Burke. So I'll need to make sure Burke is playing in a nickel as a nickel back whenever he has four wide receivers on. On defense, from a quarterback perspective, Aaron Gray's cornerback 1, cornerback 2. What that means is Gray's pretty fast, so I don't want my wide receiver 1 to be uh, my fast. I want wide receiver 1 to be faster than him. I don't really have anybody that is. So what I'm going to focus on more is agility and hands because he doesn't have great agility. Dinkins, I'm going to put my fastest guy on that side at wide receiver 2 and just try to blow past him. So it's going to be Timothy Dill. Linebacker wise, I do need to worry about Van Buren. He's got speed. I do need to worry about Pantoja. Stanton is actually playing a lot of nickel from what I saw, so I may be able to exploit that. Catalino and O'Brien are the two defensive tackles. I believe, if I remember correctly, Catalino is on the left side, he's on the right side. Kincaid and McGuire are the two defensive ends. I'm not really worried about the defensive tackles. I am worried about the defensive end. Both these guys are fast. Uh, Kincaid is also strong, so he could bull or speed rush me. So I just need to make sure that, if I remember correctly, he's on the right side, which means he's going up against the left. He's on the left side going up against the right. I do need to worry about his free safeties. They're fast, so I won't be throwing the ball very deep against them very much. But the strong safeties are slow, and Trask is also playing nickelback. So at a root, that's what I know. The other things I know about this team is, again, they're using a balanced pass. Uh, Alvarez is traditionally the primary target, and they run a lot of zone. So when I go to Pittsburgh, how that's going to translate is quickly, I'll go to my depth chart. I'm not going to change anything with my quarterback, running back, fullback. That's good. I did move Gabriel Wright out of wide receiver 1 and moved him up to, I'm sorry, wide receiver 4, moved him to wide receiver 1. I moved Dill from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 2 because, again, I'm trying to get him on Dinkins. And the reason for that, as you can see, is he's fast. He's got 94 speed. I could put Becerra in if I wanted to, and I've thought about that actually quite a bit. Um, and I'm probably just going to do it. And then put right Hill. That didn't work. Do that. And put Ellis right there. Again, matchup issue against, on especially when it's a nickel back. Now, when it is the free safety, it's not going to be a matchup issue. Flores is decently fast. You see 88 here, but he's extremely agile. So he should be able to get the passes. And then if I go with empty backfields, Tolliver will be playing. My tight ends are both fast enough that they can actually uh, get passes. As you can see, they're all above 80. They all have good hands. LeMaster actually has really good agility. I did make one change to the line. The main change here is I put Crook over Hill. Normally Poland starts on this side, but I put Crook on this side because he's the faster of the two, and I'm going to have to try to deal with that fast right side of his line. And then I put Poland over Hill. I made the decision I'm going to run the ball a lot to the right side. One of the changes I made between the first game and the second game is instead of running a lot of counters and tackles, off tackles, I was doing pitches and sweeps. So I'm going to continue in this game because I think I can get my people to the outside. And if I get Lackey to the outside, he's just going to dominate. I'm not going to do anything up the middle because, again, while Gillespie's really good, I just don't feel like pushing that. On the defensive side of the ball, the big thing for me here is going to be creating matchups. So Hubbard and Ricks are on the going up against the right side, and then Perry and Miller are going up against the left side. So if I look at this, one of the things I want to do is I'm going to move Ricks over Hill. Just need to make sure that the strength is right. Actually, I'm going to put Ballman. So we're going to put Ballman because he's stronger. He's not as fast, but I'm not going for speed. And then I'm going to bring Perry over Hill. And then what I'm going to do is put Rex Hill and then keep that. And then I'll keep this because I think generally I've got that right. Linebacker wise, not going to make many changes here. My linebackers are decent. I want Lyons on the left side because, again, he's attacking that right side. You can see with 92 speed, he should be able to get into the backfield and cause some issues. Mosley, I want on the outside because if I have to play any form of coverage against the wide receivers, I need someone who's pretty fast. I did entertain having Grisham play in this a little bit more, but I want him for when I have off downs. I'm not changing my cornerbacks at all. Maybe a big mistake on my part, but right now Lewis would be lining up against Culp, Spite would be lining up against Alvarez, and you can see he generally is going to match up well with Alvarez. Lewis is generally going to match up well with Culp, who I think has like 93 speed, so he's only given up one speed. Burke should line up when the nickelback is present. Should line up well against Greenwood, who has 97 speed, and then Travis is the closest I can get to having someone who's gonna do that. Now I could make a decision to move Ashbury over Hill, but I do run a lot of 4-3 and 3-4. So I need Ashbury where he is for when I'm not in a nickel or dime package. So Whitfield and him will both be the starters there. And then what I'm going to do strategy wise is um, I'm going to run the ball, but not extensively. I'm going to try to stay balanced on first down, and then I'm going to throw a little bit more on second and third. My wide open is more my shotgun spread sets. Blitzo is more traditional pro set with some shotgun and two tight end. And the weights don't really matter per se as long as they give you what you want, which is if you want to pass more, go 70. If you want to have more balance, go 40 to 60. If you want to have run extensive, go somewhere between 1 and like 20. I mentioned the pattern I saw earlier, so as you can see, I'm guarding against the pass a lot. I don't want to use the playbook that comes with the blitz packages. So if you set it to 100, you don't control the play anymore. It comes with the blitz package that's selected. I want this to run my playbook predominantly with some occasional blitz packages to throw off the CPU. So that's the reason why you see 20s and 30s and occasionally 10s. Um, the other thing here is I'm not going to really modify my offensive game plan. I did change this to deal because I want the ball to go to him more than right. And then the rest is still the same. Here I did make a change. I went from conservative to aggressive. Um, I am running more mixed, and my playbook matches this because you do want to make sure that you actually have mixed coverages in your plays. Otherwise, your coordinator is just going to pick whatever they're going to pick. The only other change is I want CB1 matching the wide receiver one, so I put this as always. I could put this as Wilmer Alvarez because they do throw to him a lot. Hence the reason why I was talking about earlier. And because of throwing a lot of balance, most of those balance plays seem to be medium. So I'm going to go with a medium prep, and then again they play a lot of zone, so I'm going to prep against the zone. And that's kind of how I'm going to play tonight. Um, so hopefully you find this video helpful. A lot of this is just giving you how I think and what I'm thinking and why I'm doing some of the weird things I sometimes do. Um, I think the only other thing that I'll show is contract wise. A lot of people have asked me about this, and I'll just hit this real quick. Is my general rule of thumb is if they're digressing, I'm not going to invest. Spite, I kept him on because I've grown an emotional attachment to him. Lackey, I'm going to extend no matter what. I really don't care if he's digressing. As you can see, Lackey's been good to me. He's just been really strong throughout his career. There's no reason for me to ditch him. He's kind of like Paul Hollingsworth, who's my quarterback for a long time was. I'm gonna keep him around until I can't. And then most of the people this year, I'm probably not going to renew them. Honestly, Lance, I won't renew because I can pick him up in free agency again. Coggins, I may renew, or I'm going to try to trade Coggins at some point. But really, the people I'll probably keep is McClendon and Lackey, just because in my model, the people I'd want to keep, Shipley, I'll keep around too. Shipley's been with Pittsburgh since the beginning, and he's mostly been good. He's not playing that much this year. I need to go back and understand why I'm doing that, but I'll figure that out later. Um, but as you can see, I don't have a lot of. I have people to renew and they're all expensive, but depending on what comes out in this year's draft or what I think is going to come out in this year's draft, and we'll know the draft class for SNCFL here shortly. I just probably am not going to invest a lot of money in people who are over the age of 30. Because in our league, 30 is when you start to digress, or really around 28, 29. So that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and hit export just because I need to make sure I don't forget to do that. And hopefully, if you have any questions, you want to see something specific, let me know. I will do a recap video this weekend. I will also do a recap. The championship game for SNCFL will stream tomorrow, roughly about 8 o'clock, I think, Eastern time. And it's UCLA versus Maryland. So it'll be Stort versus me. And then again, I'll do a recap video for this, and then I'll start talking about the draft class for SNCFL. GMPFL, which is our GM-based league, where you can do everything but modify your game plans. They're getting closer to the regular season. They will likely run 2025. Uh, if you have an interest, just let me know. If you have an interest in this league, we have some really good teams still available. Like Baltimore's one of them. The Bengals aren't good, but if you're a Bengal fan, we'd love to have you. And then you've got other teams like Seattle who are really good. Jacksonville. Uh, New Orleans has a really good quarterback. So feel free to join us. Hope you have a good night. Thanks.